2021 marks the Diamond Jubilee of the Sudbury Savoyards. 10 years have passed since our 50th anniversary, and we continue the tradition of presenting Gilbert and Sullivan on a grand scale since 1961. We began 2011 by celebrating our 50th anniversary on February 27th with a brunch, well attended by over 100 past and present members. Following was a double bill performance of Trial by Jury and HMS Pinafore, and our special guest was Royston Nash of the D'Oyly Carte Opera Company.
Hark, the hour of 10 is sounding, hearts with anxious fears are pounding, all of justice crowds surrounding, bringing hope and fear. For today in this arena, song is friendship, stampers, friendship, throtters, passion, twirlers, patience, flowers, flashes, press protrude, and mission is customary aptitude. His aptitude is great.
In May of 2011, we continued our 50th celebration on a grand scale with a weekend of events, turning Hawes Hall into a museum. Our keynote speaker was Royston Nash, making a return appearance. Numerous dramatic and musical events occurred throughout the weekend. At the conclusion of our 50th celebration, we reached our goal of $200,000 in donations to UMCOR, the United Methodist Committee on Relief. In 2012, Peter Stark, longtime member, actor, friend, and Ruthergore stage director, tragically passed away. It was a heartbreaking loss for the Sudbury Savoyards. As hard as it was losing Peter, the old cliché, "the show must go on," was carried out. Assistant director Dennis O'Brien took over, and along with music director Catherine Meifert, fulfilled Peter's vision for the production. After 47 years performing at Lincoln-Sudbury Regional High School, the 2017 and 2018 productions moved to Maynard High School. In 2016, we were approached by the Sudbury United Methodist Church and encouraged to separate and become an independent 501c3 community theater organization. By this time, we had donated over $250,000 to the United Methodist Committee on Relief. In the fall of 2017, we held a sale to downsize our vast inventory stored at the Sudbury United Methodist Church, as we were forced to relocate from our home base after many years.
In 1961, a group of church members searched for a way to raise funds to help build the sanctuary of the Sudbury Methodist Church. On April 27th and 28th, an evening of music was presented in the parish hall, and part 2 of the evening was a performance of Gilbert and Sullivan's Trial by Jury, with Priscilla Davis as Director of Dramatics and Betty Farmer as Director of Music.
Ken and I were president of the couples club, and each group in the church was asked to do a fundraiser for the sanctuary. And we thought in the middle of the night one night came to me, Gilbert and Sullivan, I know where I can get the scores. We can borrow the ones from Reading High School, which I had taught there, and I knew that they had done. Well, Priscilla was also a member of the church, and I was chatting with her and found that she was an Emerson graduate and had quite a bit of experience with doing plays, so I asked her if she would work with me on it. We thought at first we'd only have choir members turn out, but we put a little blurb in the paper, and we got quite a few people who had no connection to the church at all.
This was the beginning of a group which would later be known as the Sudbury Savoyards.
Well, as soon as we finished, they started talking about the stage there in Parish Hall was too small, and why did we move to the town hall? And also, instead of just a piano, come let's get an orchestra. The orchestra was not easy to come by. I spent hours on the telephone trying to round up all the people for the orchestra. There's no auditions for chorus, but the auditions are for all the leads.
About the second or third year that we were in the town hall, they had a problem because their insurance suddenly notified them that they had to have a fireproof curtain for the stage curtain, and they didn't have one. So all productions were shut down at the town hall.
That closure of the town hall is why 1965 was the only year that the Sudbury Savoyards did not perform a Gilbert and Sullivan operetta. In March of 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic shut down most of the country, and with that, live theater productions were put on hold. The Sudbury Savoyards had selected The Grand Duke as the 2021 production, but had to be canceled due to the pandemic. The Grand Duke has only been performed one other time in the history of the Sudbury Savoyards.
In 2005, I proposed doing The Grand Duke to the Board of Trustees. This is an operetta that's rarely performed. It's not as well known as some of the others. It's rather long. It's got a convoluted storyline. It's one of the operettas that Gilbert and Sullivan didn't do much cutting in. It was at the end of their careers. It's the last one they wrote. So it doesn't get performed that often. So I started looking into the possibility of the Sudbury Savoyards doing it. They had never done it in the history of the organization. And I knew it needed work, a lot of work, because editing an operetta is not an easy task, and knowing what to cut, what do you cut, how to get it to a reasonable time slot, how to get the storyline so that the audience will understand it and get it and fit it in one night of theater. We got it down to about a 2.5-hour show. I thought it was very successful. A lot of the cast members enjoyed it immensely. We even got some comments that, this one, the Grand Duke, is now my favorite.
3 weeks? But I've been engaged to him for the last 20 years.
20 years? There, my dear. They can't get over that. Take him. He's yours. And hold him as tight as you can.
My own.
Here's another! The 4th in 24 hours! Would anybody else like to marry me? You, man! Or you! Anybody! I'm getting used to it.
The group has maintained its focus. Again, there are a lot of groups that can't maintain a continuing cycle of doing only Gilbert and Sullivan shows, which is where the growth of the organization in other areas has helped maintain the continuity of the group. What will carry us forward is the community that develops from that. The size of our casts, the open chorus, allows people to come in and stay with the organization without having to prove themselves every year.
Over the past 60 years, the Sudbury Savoyards have presented 59 Gilbert and Sullivan productions in 4 different locations, with 21 stage directors and 14 music directors. The group manages to successfully adapt to whatever challenges come its way, and yet still remains a locally based, nonprofit community theater organization. Multiple generations have come and gone, while it continuously attracts new Savoyard family members. The Sudbury Savoyards are looking forward to their next decade of performing Gilbert and Sullivan on a grand scale.